Um, as a preliminary matter, this is Woody Knight, Chair of the Newbury Planning Board. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons participating on the agenda are present and can hear me. Planning Board members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Peter Pecos will not be with us this evening. Larry Murphy,
Present.
Scott Kinter will not be with us this evening. Steve Mangian,
Aye.
town staff, when I call your name, Martha Taylor,
Yes.
Special Projects Planner.
Yep, here.
Sadie Woodward, Assistant Planner.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. March 18th, 26th, open meeting of the Newbury Planning Board is being conducted remotely consistent with Chapter 2 of the Act of 2025, which extends the Governor's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, GLC 30A 20, until June 30th, 2027. For this meeting, the Newbury Planning Board is convening by video conference via Zoom, as posted on the Planning Board's agenda, which can be found at the town's website. You may join us by going to http://zoom.us and entering meeting ID number 8327141 3056, and the passcode is 108790, or by calling in 1929-205-6099 US and entering the meeting ID number and passcode when prompted. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that attendees are participating by video or telephone conference. The meeting is also being broadcast live through local access cable channel 9 and on Zoom and at newburytv.wixsite.com/tnctv. And the recording will be available on the Newbury Access YouTube channel. Meeting business ground rules. Before we turn to the first item on the agenda, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. As chair, I'll introduce each speaker on the agenda. After speakers conclude their remarks, we'll go down the list of board members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. For all attendees, please remember to mute your audio when you are not speaking. On Zoom, use the mute button. And on the telephone, use *6 to toggle to mute and unmute. There will be an opportunity for public comment and questions during the public hearing. I'll see questions and comments from members of the public through the Zoom raised hand function. Video conference participants, to raise your hand, hover over the bottom of the Zoom window below the photo gallery and click on the image of the hand that appears. Please ensure that your name is fully and correctly displayed on the participant list. Telephone participants, to raise your hand in a Zoom meeting, hit *9 on your phone keypad to raise your hand. Each participant will be called on to provide his or her name and address, and then may ask their question or make their comment. Please do your best to keep your questions or comments to 3 minutes or less. Your hand will be lowered when you have been given the floor for your question. I will afford the applicant or their representative the opportunity to reply. Should there be a written submittal of questions or concerns, they will be noted for the record. The applicant will be afforded the opportunity to speak if the issues raised have not yet been addressed. And finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. Very good. We'll go on to the first item of the agenda this evening. It's 7-13 Main Street, submission of Form A and approval of not required plan for proposed lot line changes. Newbury Assessors Map, R19-0-53B and R19-0-53C. Owner and applicant, Rome Realty LLC, 64 School Street, Merrimack, Mass. I'd like to welcome Robert Cormier and attorney Phil Perry. Are you guys with us this evening?
Yeah.
Yes, good evening. This is Philip Parry speaking. And And I also see the icon for Rome Realty LLC, who I believe is also in attendance.
Yes, Robert Cormier, Rome Realty.
Okay, thank you, John. Um, if you would like, would you please explain the purpose of the A&R plan and why it's being submitted?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. Again, my name is Philip Parry. I'm an attorney with an office at Parry and Parry PC at 4 Merrimack Square, Merrimack, Mass. I'm here tonight on behalf of Rome Realty. We presented to you the application and the plan showing the reconfiguration of two existing lots. As you said, the first lot's at 7 and 9 Main Street. The second lot is at 11 to 13 Main Street. Approximately a year or so ago, before you had endorsed an approval not required plan, dividing the original contiguous lot into 4 parcels. Parcels 3 and 4 from that plan are what you have before you tonight. And upon them, they have since been built upon. Each lot currently has a substantially constructed 2-family residence. And the purpose of this plan is to modify the common interior boundary line between them. And really the purposes for that were to straighten out the lot line between the 2 buildings, straighten it out, making it so that there'd be a more uniform backyard for both buildings, and also to jog them towards the rear of the property for purposes of creating better setbacks and distances for septic system reserve areas. Each of the lots maintains the minimum amount of frontage on Main Street required under the zoning bylaw. Each of the lots also does contain the minimum amount of area required for a 2-family in this zone that is served by public water, which each of them are. And care was taken to ensure that the reconfigured lot lines here, we have proper setbacks relative to any buildings and front, rear, and side lot lines. The preparer of the plan did go into a little bit of detail on the plan as far as locating utilities to and from the units, as well as the existing septic systems and reserve areas. And we believe that because we have the minimum amount of required frontage on Main Street, which is a public way, that the plan is endorsed to A&R approval.
Okay, thank you, Phil.
Thank you.
Do you have anything else? Oh, good.
No, I'll defer to the board. If the board certainly has any comments, I'll be happy to answer them.
All right, thank you. I'll turn to the board. Larry, do you have any questions for Phil?
I was just curious. I see where you are removing some of the more extreme property line. What's the word I'm looking for? Odd angles, I guess I might say. I just wondered why they were drawn that way in the first place.
Good question. From what I understand, there wasn't a lot of area left over when the survey was conducted, and the overall area of the contiguous lot was calculated, and the amount of frontage was determined. Because of that, and at the time of the original endorsement, septic systems had not been designed nor approved by the Board of Health. So the surveyor and the engineer at the time that the plan was prepared, they configured the lot lines this way, trying to make their best educated guess as to how they'd be able to locate these. Of course, they didn't have soil testing or perk rates. And then once the lots were created and they did do those things and they did design the plans, this plan here really really does a better job, I guess, of being able to access things like the reserve areas out back. If there's anything to add to that, I'm sure that Mr. Cormier can chime in.
No, no, that's, it was a guess, how the engineer did it. He's no longer with us. So I would love to ask him why he did it that way, but it's not feasible for any of the people that will be occupying these houses. It just looks a lot better. It just looks a lot better for everybody, if we straightened out that line. That's all I have.
Hey, thank you. That answers my question.
I'm hearing a dog in the background. Is that
Yes, I'm so sorry about that, but we have two dogs and they're literally growling.
okay? If you don't mind muting, that would be great. It's just so everybody can hear what's going on. Thank you so much. All right, Larry, are you good with questions? Or do you have any
Yes,
other
I
questions?
am, Woody. Thank you. That's all I had.
Steve, do you have any questions for Bill, the applicant?
Thank you. No, I do not.
All right, and I don't have any questions either. That being said, Sadie and Martha, this is good to go. Otherwise, any concerns that you have?
No
Correct.
concerns.
Okay, thank you. That being said, I'd entertain a motion to endorse the A&R plan entitled Plan of Land at 7-13 Main Street in Newbury, Massachusetts, surveyed by Rome Realty LLC by Atlantic Engineering and Survey Consultants, Inc., dated March 4th, 2026.
So move.
Thank you,
Second.
Larry. Thank you, Steve. Roll
Second.
call vote. Larry,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
and I vote yes as well. Thank you, Phil. And we should have those Mylars ready for you tomorrow.
Okay, thank you very much. I anticipate someone will come down probably later in the morning as we have some amount of urgency, so I'll get this down to the Registry of Deeds once the endorsed plan is delivered to me. So thank you all for meeting tonight and considering this.
Okay, thank you. And I will do my best to have them signed by 10 a.m. So,
Okay, great, thank you. Bye.
all right. Have a good night. All right, what time do we have here? 7:13. Meeting minutes. Has everyone had a chance to review the meeting minutes for March 4th, 2026? And if so, do you have any questions or concerns or amendments for the meeting minutes?
I've reviewed them, Woody, and they look fine to me.
Okay, great.
Same here.
Steve? Okay, great. So I would entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes for March 4th, 2026. I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
Thank you,
I'll
Steve.
second that.
All right, thank you, Larry. Roll call vote. Larry,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
and I vote yes as well. So that takes care of our meeting minutes. I have 7:14, and we're going to move into public hearings. I'm going to jump around a little bit on the public hearings, so bear with me for 1 second. I have 7:14. I have 7:15. So I'm going to jump around a little bit. I'm going to go to the first one for this evening, public hearing continuance subdivision definitive subdivision application for 15 Central Street, assessors map, U11, lot 53. For two-lot subdivision, applicant owner Michael Becker, 15 Central Street, Byfield LLC. We have gotten a request from the applicant to continue the public hearing for this evening to April 1st meeting at 7:15 via Zoom. So they had some materials that hadn't come in yet, so they didn't really have anything new for us this evening. They'd like a continuance. So that being said, I would entertain a motion for the continuance of 15 Central Street. Let me just get the verbiage. 15 Central Street, assessor map, U11, lot 53. For April 1st at 7:15 via Zoom.
Hey, Woody, Woody, I see a raised hand.
Hi, I have a question. I just recently purchased 17 Church Street, which is the abutting lot to this proposed subdivision. I just had a couple questions about it. I'm new to it. I mean, I knew going into buying into the house that there was a subdivision going in.
I was still thinking about this. I need to get the ingredients.
Excuse me, someone's not muted and we can hear you, and I'm trying to hear who's talking. And if whoever's talking, could you please just state your name for the record? We know you're at 17.
Okay, so this is Mike. This is Mike F talking right now. I recently just bought that house at 17 Church Street. I'm just trying to get some information on the subdivision. Is basically, I guess my first question would be, is this happening? Is this approved? Is there going to be a house built here?
Well, we're in the process now. We opened the public hearing 2 weeks ago. Actually, yes, we started the public hearing process 2 weeks ago. It's went through preliminary, and now it's on to definitive subdivision. And there is time for public comment. We had some public comment last meeting, so I suggest you look up our last meeting on the YouTube channel. Tonight, it's a continuance, so there'll be no discussion of any of the details of the project, just because the applicants aren't here to respond.
Yep.
So,
okay.
in fairness to the applicant, but we are continuing this public hearing for 15 Central Street to April 1st at 7:15, and I would encourage you to attend and ask your questions then, if that's okay with you.
No, that's fine. All good. I just I'll save them for then, I guess.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, just because we're not actually opening the public hearing tonight because the applicant's
No problem.
In fairness to the applicant.
What would I search on YouTube to look up the last meeting?
The last meeting date. Do you recall what the date was? Anyone?
Yeah, it was it was the March 4th meeting. And Mike, there's the town of Newbury has a YouTube channel, and then within that channel there's some playlists with different committees and boards organized into different lists. So you'll find the Newbury Planning Board list, and it should be the most recent video.
Actually, it was
That's posted.
February 18th meeting. Wasn't it? It was a month ago.
Yeah, I agree with
I can't remember off the
Melissa.
top of my head.
I do not
It
recall.
wasn't
I'm
2
looking.
weeks ago. It was February 18th.
February 18th. Okay.
Yep. There'll be a list of the planning board meetings there, and we also have the agendas on our website. I can't pull up the date of that meeting right now. I apologize.
Okay. All good. I will go find it, and I will save my questions for April 1st, you said?
Yes, April 1st at 7:15 via Zoom. And
All right.
thank you for everyone for your patience.
I will
and
see
that
you
was
then.
gonna
Thank you.
attend- Yeah, that was gonna head comments for this evening, so thank you. And now I will entertain a motion to continue 15 Central Street to April 1st at 7:15 via Zoom.
So moved.
Thank you, Steve. Do I have a second, Larry? You're muted.
Yes, I second it.
Yes, thank you. Roll call vote, Larry,
Yes.
Steve.
Yes.
Okay, we'll see 15 Central Street on April 1st. Thank you, everyone. Next public hearing is annual town meeting 2026 zoning amendment request from Select Board to increase the number of zoning board of appeals members from 3 to 5. Larry, could you read the public hearing notice for this zoning amendment, please?
Yeah, I'll be glad to, Woody. This is the Town of Newbury Planning Board public hearing notice, which was published in the Newburyport Daily News on March 2nd and March 9th, 2026. To the residents of the town of Newbury and other interested persons, please note that on Wednesday, March 18th, 2026 at 7:15 p.m., the Newbury Planning Board will hold a public hearing remotely via Zoom pursuant to Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 48, Section 5, to consider a proposed amendment to the Code of the Town of Newbury, Chapter 97 zoning as follows. To see if the town will vote to amend its zoning bylaw, being Chapter 97 of the Town General Legislation, Article 9, Section 97-11B, entitled Zoning Board of Appeals, by amending subsection 1 entitled Establishment to increase the number of Zoning Board of Appeals members from 3 to 5. Excuse me. The text of this proposed amendment is on file with the town clerk and in the planning office, 12 Kent Way, Suite 210, Byfield, Mass, and may be viewed on the planning board's section of the town's website at https://www.newburymA.gov/891/ proposed-zoning-amendments. For more information or to obtain a copy of the proposed amendments, contact the planning office at 978-465-0862, extension 336. In accordance with Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2025, which extends the Governor's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, General Laws, Chapter 38, Section 20, until June 30th, 2027, this public meeting is being conducted remotely. All persons interested or wishing to be heard relative to the proposed zoning amendments are invited to participate in the hearing remotely at the designated time from their computer, tablet, or smartphone at https://web/us02web/j/83271413056, or by telephone by calling 1-929-205-6099 and using meeting ID 832-714-13056, passcode 108790, or may watch the meeting live on local access cable channel 9 or at www.tnctv.org by Woody Knight, Chair, Newbury Planning Board.
Okay, thank you, Larry. And I'd like to welcome Eric Schwan, Chair of the ZBA. And do you have any other members in attendance from the ZBA this evening?
Yes, we do. We have Mario Cannavale, who's a member, and we have Joshua Walker, who's a associate member.
Okay, so would you guys like to open the meeting? Because
yes, we'd like to open the meeting. I don't know if in my race to get home here that I actually have the meeting agenda, but yeah, the planning board, the zoning board of appeals here March 18th at 7:24 here on the Zoom meeting would like to open the meeting. I don't have the full description that Larry so eloquently read in terms of the public announcement on Zoom.
Nope, that's great. I think you covered there, Eric, just because you have more than one member present. So thank you.
Yes.
And so then Martha, I understand you have some slides to
I
present?
do.
Okay,
Just
great.
a few.
So I'll give the floor to you and Eric, and you guys can work through the slides here. We'll
Thank you.
get through this. Thank you. Thank you, Eric.
All right. Let's see. Well, can you see that? I know you've got you're probably seeing my here we go. Sorry. All right. So as Larry read tonight, the planning board is holding a public hearing on a proposed zoning amendment regarding the ZBA membership. And this was referred to the planning board from the select board. Here are the planning board members: Woody Knight, Pete Pecos, Laurie Murphy, Scott Kinter, Steve Manchin, and Mary Stone, associate member, and Kristen Grubbs, planning director, Sadie Woodward, assistant planner, and me, special projects planner. As we discussed at the public hearing on March 4th, the planning board is usually the body that initiates zoning amendments, either housekeeping or based on amendments proposed to accomplish goals that are in some of the long-range planning or in response to case law or changes in Mass General law. But other bodies can also initiate zoning amendments, the select board, the ZBA, sometimes they're citizens petitions. But in any case, they must be submitted to the select board and then by the select board to the planning board for public hearing. So in this case, the select board did vote to refer this particular zoning amendment to the planning board for public hearing on February 24th. And this is specifically to increase the membership of the Zoning Board of Appeals from 3 members to 5 members at the request of the Zoning Board of Appeals by a letter written by the chair to the select board. Just a quick recap, Mass General Law, Chapter 48, Section 12 actually kind of enables the establishment of a Zoning Board of Appeals, and under state law, the ZBA members are appointed by the select board. It can consist of either 3 or 5 members. The term of 1 member expires each year, so you don't have multiple members leaving in any particular year. And associate ZBA members may be appointed by the select board as well, and they can, in the absence of a zoning board member, the associate member can act on the applications before the board. Our bylaw, which is in Article 11, Section 9711B, basically follows state law. It establishes a 3-member zoning board of appeals. We have 2 associate members, and they're appointed by the select board with a term of 1 member expiring each year. And on this slide is a photograph of the ZBA, and I'll turn it over to Eric at this point.
Jump in?
Yep, you can jump in. So the photo shows, I think that was 3 members, 1 associate, and also Larry Murphy, who is the planning board's liaison to the Zoning Board of Appeals. So do you want me to go on to the next slide?
Yes.
Okay. Oops.
Everybody froze for a moment, so I missed your entry there. Sorry about that, Martha.
Oh.
Thank you for setting up the slides. Thank you to the planning board for this process. Eric Svahn. I've been on the ZBA for 12 plus years. I kind of forget now. And it's always been a 3-member board with the possibility of having 2 associates. And I think in those 13 years, there may have been 6 months where we actually had 2 associates. And I'm glad to report that we do currently, just within the last month, now have 2 associates. And so what prompted this was the ZBA has come across some challenging or more challenging applications dealing with Plum Island. And some of the applications are becoming more uncharted territory. And so as we have a 3-member board and any 2 members constitutes a quorum, there is no discussion outside of the public meetings that we have. And so as that, the discussion sometimes takes a while to explain to the board as well as to the applicants, as well as gain an understanding of what we're doing with some unique interpretations of our bylaws that are being presented to us and how we interpret them. So in doing that, we'd like to reduce scheduling delays by expanding the board members so that we can have a quorum of 3 members, and that it's easier to make sure that we're not missing meetings by one person having an incident where they cannot make a meeting. Also, the voting threshold right now, it's 3. It's a majority. It's got to be unanimous for everything. There are discussions, not that has impeded us to where we need to go, but some members would feel like they either like to abstain or maybe vote against it in terms of their opinion. It just gives us a broader range of voices within the meeting. So improved continuity. More members serving staggered terms. It's easier to maintain experience of the members and have members help ensure the consistency. And we're really trying to move applicants along in a proper manner and not have to have continuous delays because of missing members. That has happened from time to time. Also, I think a more diverse perspective with the increased numbers, I think we would have a better discussion and have more input from varied viewpoints on the interpretation of the zoning matters. So, and also as a result of this, I guess with 3 people, it sometimes seems or perception is that the zoning board can be very matter of fact, where one person who has a strong opinion sort of outweighs the other 2. And so if there are more voices on the board, and I think, we sometimes look, and I ask Larry, who's a great liaison to the zoning board, how the planning board works and how matters are dealt with in terms of standard procedure in order to help understand how to guide the zoning board in what we're doing. So this has been some time, and I think I've been talking about this for 2 years and then finally decided to act on it. So I'm appreciative of the planning board to consider this and to send it to the select board as well.
Okay, thank you, Eric. Larry, do you have any questions for Eric?
I have no questions and nothing to add other than to say I fully support it.
Thank you, Larry. Steve, do you have any questions or comments?
Yeah, I support it, but I've got one housekeeping question for Eric.
Yes.
With regard to supermajorities and a 5-member board, how would it work if one of the board members was absent? Would it require a 4-0 vote or not?
Well, if the 5-member board and 2 associates are present for the hearings and have been part of the process all along, the associate member can step up, so we can avoid some delays that way. If we so choose, I think it's if we have a quorum, we can present to the applicant where we are and where we might be going, and discuss whether a continuance is warranted or not. And we have had people that have asked for a motion to be made, even if there is some uncertainty, and we certainly explain the options that might unfold, however that may be, and they're choosing schedule over over the possibility of where the decision may fall. So I think, at that point, we try to be reasonable and we try to be very helpful to the residents that are submitting. And I think it's just a matter of process of asking them where that importance is of schedule versus maybe delaying it a month to have more members involved in the motion or decision.
Sure, that sounds good. The importance of having associate members comes through loud and clear as well. And I think I can see the forest and the trees. So thank you.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
Very good. And I support it as well. I think it's a good thing. And I really don't have any questions other than if this is passed, if this does go through the process and ends up on the warrant and goes through town meeting, so would the associate members get bumped up as the part of the 5, or would they have to be elected in? Do you know that?
I don't know officially, but my assumption is that the associate members would become members and that the terms, I think I would go before the select board and make a recommendation that the 2 associate members get appointed as members and that we take the current appointments and let the select board stagger them out so that we're 1 every 5 years as opposed to the 3 years that we have now.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Thank you, Eric. If planning board members don't have any other questions, I will turn it over to the public. Do we have any raised hands from the public? Any members of the public have any questions for Eric?
I don't see any raised hands at the moment.
Okay. If there's anyone and they have trouble raising their hand, just speak up. Otherwise, we'll move on. So with that said, no more additional questions, Larry or Steve, correct?
Correct.
All right.
Sorry.
I would entertain a motion then to close the public hearing for this zoning amendment.
I'll move to close the public hearing.
Second,
Okay, thank you, Larry. Thank you, Steve. Roll call vote, Larry,
Yes.
Steve,
yes.
and I vote yes as well. Now, I'd also entertain another motion to recommend the zoning amendments and refer them to the select board and for consideration at the 2026 annual town meeting.
I'd so move.
Second,
All right. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Steve. Larry, you vote?
Yes.
And Steve?
yes.
And I vote yes as well. Thank you, Eric. Thank you,
Thank
everyone
you.
else with you tonight. I can't see you, but thank you, everyone from the ZBA, and we'll see you at town meeting.
Great. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you, Martha.
Oh, you're welcome. Good to see you.
Yes. Bye, everybody.
Good. Have a good night, Eric. Thank you. Moving on to the next public hearing. It's a continuance, 2-8 Old Point Road, Level 2 Site Plan Review. The application is for an as-built constructed changes to the approved site plan of record and a proposed new 40 by 40 pavilion structure at the Sunset Club at 2-8 Old Point Road, assessors map U02-0-153A, owner of the Cottages Commercial LLC, Vincent Godin, manager, and applicant representative Stephen Sawyer from Millennial Engineering. I see Vince. Hi, Vince. How are you? You are muted, by the way.
Everything's
just so
going
you know.
well.
Yep. Do you have any updates for the
Yep.
board, Vince?
Well, I saw a recent draft a couple days ago, and was told they were still waiting on if there was any feedback from the town council. So I haven't heard back. So I don't know if Sadie or Martha know if that's been received yet.
Okay. Go ahead, Sadie.
Unfortunately, we have not received town council review yet. I believe it's because it's town meeting season and she has a lot going on with various towns, zoning amendments and things of that sort. So we're still waiting to hear back, unfortunately.
Got it. So I seem to be the case that everybody wanted to see those comments. So it probably just makes the most sense to maybe just push this to the next meeting till we get those comments.
Okay. Thank you, Vince. There were a few minor changes. Did you want to go through those, Sadie?
Yeah, I can.
Yep.
They're mostly Kristen's edits, so I apologize if I can't answer any nitty-gritty questions, but I can definitely present the draft to the meeting.
Yep. I think there are just a few minor changes, Vince, so we'll just note them for the record.
Yep. No, I already looked through them and they looked good to me. So let's definitely go through them.
All right. Thank you.
Everyone can see this, okay?
Yep.
Alrighty. So there were some edits to the procedural history after receiving some more information from the inspectional services admin and from the conservation agent. So there was just more detail added here in this section. And you said you reviewed all these, Vincent?
Yep.
Okay.
I went through them all.
Okay, great. So the first edit is specifying in 2003, the applicant then sought a building permit to construct a timber frame structure on the property and to approve as-built conditions. An additional metal container to be used as a merchandise shack and other changes to the approved site plan. On October 5th, 2023, the building commissioner denied the permit based on Newbury zoning code 97-4D-4, requiring a refiling with the zoning board for a modification to the original special permit approval. The letter also stated the need to file with the planning board for a modification of the site plan approval and with the Conservation Commission. And she also added modification here, and a new order of conditions was approved by the Conservation Commission and issued on November 12th, 2024. The scope of the work on the approved project included the removal, quote, the removal of a boat landscape feature, the permitting of an 8x20 temp structure known as the mobile merch container, and the completion of the installation of previously approved plantings in alternative locations, unquote, end quote. After the issuance of the order of conditions, the applicant requested an amendment to this new permit to include the construction of a 40-foot by 40-foot open pavilion structure. After review, the amendment was approved with a final plan revision date of July 11th, 2025. And some minor edits here. I will change this date to when the hearing closes, if it is not closed this evening. During the planning board review in August 2025, it was determined that the applicant's application to the planning board for the pavilion differed from what was approved by the zoning board. The applicant therefore, this is a bit unclear, which will be fixed. The applicant therefore submitted a request to the zoning board of appeals. Oh, sorry. I thought I heard someone say something. The applicant therefore submitted a request to the zoning board of appeals for approval of a special permit minor modification to the design of the pavilion previously approved, specifically to enclose the two gable ends of the structure. The ZBA voted to approve the change as a minor modification on January 15th, 2026. I believe that's all the edits for that section. And that, I believe, is everything that has been edited since the last meeting, besides some minor wording changes here and there. Okay. Yes, so this item J has some more significant edits. I don't know if you all want me to keep reading them out? Is that working for everyone?
I know that they're good, they're, and if Vince is happy with the changes and he's seen them all, then I would just scroll down towards the end and we'll note that there have been a few more minor changes, most of them clerical, and then others, just, some homework things, so that were noted by Kristen is all I saw from this point on, but,
Yes.
what page are you on? I can't see.
I am on page 7.
Okay, yep.
Hey,
So,
Woody, could I make a comment if it's appropriate?
yeah, I was just about to ask, Larry and then you too, if you had any questions. Go ahead, Steve.
Okay. About the plan in the event of flooding, I guess I would ask for the consideration of a date of when the plan will be submitted to whom, maybe the fire department, the police department, whatever. But as I read it right now, there's no deadline to produce a plan. And I'd ask the board and Vince to consider coming up with a agreeable date to get it down on paper.
I can answer at least right now. We've actually started that. We already have we're building a list of as many people instead of just having one or two people. Just have a list of people in case some people are on vacation or whatnot. The language that was added says that we need to have a plan with the building inspector on file as a condition. So it's my understanding that in order to close out this planning board, once everything is constructed and done, we will need to have had the plan with the building inspector in his hands in order to kind of close this out. So that is the plan, to have it done then.
Sure,
Likely
that's-
way before then, but it is a requirement in order to kind of close things out.
Sure, that sounds good.
Okay. Anything else, Steve?
Not on that section. When we get to it, I may have a couple of others.
Okay. If you want to continue, Sadie, we have what, 2 more pages here. So is there anything else substantial on there? And I don't know.
There's this added condition,
Okay.
except as specially modified herein, the terms and conditions of the April 28th, 2021 site plan decision recorded July 20th, 2021 at book 40098, page 538 are ratified and affirmed and shall remain in full force and effect. And then I believe the next page is just the signature page. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Then, Woody, I do have a question.
Yes.
When you're ready. Number one, I find it a bit frustrating. I'm repeating something that some of the residents on Plum Island have said to me, but they're reluctant to send something in written form. They asked me to bring it up during the meeting, and I don't know if it's appropriate or not for me to bring up something that hasn't been formally submitted by a resident. And I'm anxious to hear an opinion on whether I should bring up a verbally expressed concern or not.
I did get your email on this earlier, and if they're not willing to identify themselves, I would rather not hear their comments, Steve. If it's a comment from you, then that's fine. But that's kind of how this all works. If it's a written submittal, we'd like to see their name, and we've always required it in the past, name and where they live. So it's kind of a moot point, but if it was, like I said, if it was a comment from you, it would be one thing. But an anonymous comments, I'm not going to entertain.
Yeah. Well, let me try this. I'm neither here nor there, but I'd rather just put out a concern I've heard, and it does resonate with me a little bit. And it's really to give Vince a heads up rather than, waiting 2 more weeks to bring it up. But the pavilion itself, it's going to be a source for people gathering, perhaps even a band. But in any event, do you have any plans to put speakers, say, on the posts out there in the pavilion, uh, Vince? And since that could have sound implications, that's the context in which I'm asking. And I don't, you're hearing this for the first time from me, but I don't know that you haven't or would be expected to have an answer right now. But I thought I would let you know it's something that I'll be thinking about pending any written comments from residents. I should emphasize written comments that do not seem to be forthcoming, which I find personally frustrating as well.
Okay. Vince, do you have a response to that, speakers?
I would have to talk to the operators. I know there are speakers at the like where the sales are that just provide just general, music like you would hear at any restaurant that you're inside. But I don't know whether they plan on extending that to the pavilion area or not. But it is my understanding that that type of music like that is something that falls under the license that they have for the entertainment license, and whether they can have that or not. I believe that's something they would have to address with that board if they wanted that.
Yeah, that was my understanding as well. That's more of an entertainment license issue. So, thank you for that comment. Anything else, Steve?
Oh, thank you, Woody, and thank you, Vince.
And Larry, do you have any questions for Vince?
No, I
questions about the
reviewed
decision?
the changes. They look okay to me. I am anxious to, or I think it's important we get town council's review though before taking a final vote.
Yep, I agree with you there. All right, before I move on with anything else, I just want to make sure there's no public comment at this time. We don't have to raise hands, correct, Sweetie?
I do not see any at the moment, no.
Okay, thank you. And is Martha or Sadie, you don't have any other comments at this time, correct?
No.
No, just that we can close the public hearing, but that would still allow the planning board to discuss and make their final decision within 25 days. Well, the decision would have to be filed and everything within 25 days. But that's an option for the board if they want to, try to move the process along.
Yep, so in 25 days, it has to be filed with the clerk. And that being said, thank you, Sadie. With that being said, if I'd entertain a motion to close the public hearing, and that way we could still discuss if there are any changes made by council when council finally gets it back to us after their review. So if that's something you would like to do, Larry or Steve, I'd entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
We'll move to close the public hearing, Woody.
Okay. Do I have a second? Well, I'll second that.
Well, I'd like to discuss that, Woody.
Okay.
Before we
Go
take the
right
vote. To me, it just seems cleaner to keep it open. That gives Vince more time to respond to something that may come up in April. And I don't think it impedes our ability to have a final vote on April pending comments from town council. My bias, therefore, is to keep it open rather than close the public hearing at this time. But I'd be interested in seeing if I've promoted any reaction from you all under discussion of the motion.
I have no comment. Larry?
Actually, normally I would agree with that comment, but I think we've had a pretty thorough vetting of the issues on this application.
And I agree as well.
Okay. Without any prejudice or something, I'll probably vote just under discussion still. I'll probably vote no, but I certainly understand and appreciate your point of view, Woody and Larry.
So motion, and I made a second, if that is allowable, roll call vote. Larry? To close the public hearing. Steve?
No,
And I vote yes to close the public hearing. Martha, for clarification, we would need 3 votes to close the public hearing?
That's a good question.
We'll determine if the public hearing is closed or not.
My research was that it's just a simple majority on the planning board, unless it's a major zoning.
Well, it is. I mean, it would be 3 out of 5 since there are only 3 members here tonight.
Yep. I'm not sure on that one either. So,
well, in the interest of harmony, I'm willing to change my vote to yes.
okay.
If that'll help move the process along in a way that.
All right. So we have 3 yeses to close the public hearing. So the public hearing's closed. And just note that, Sadie. And we will put you on the agenda for well, no, I'd entertain a motion. No, excuse me, I apologize. I'm misspoken. We'll put you on the agenda for April 1st, Vince, and we will have I'm sure we will have town council review by then. And if there's any minor changes, we can discuss it as a board, and we will move on from there. And
I appreciate that.
be set
Thank you.
to go in, like Sadie stated, this 24, 25 days from today for to be filed with the clerk. So the process is started. And thank you for your cooperation. All right, have a good night. We'll see you
Woody,
on
just
Thursday. Yeah, go right ahead, Larry.
as a matter of procedure, you don't need a motion to continue this to April 1st?
The
No, we
hearing's
just closed the public hearing.
Yeah,
Oh,
the hearing's
okay. All right.
closed.
All right,
Yep.
I got you.
Yep. So no, thanks, Larry, for that. But no, we just closed the public hearing, but we will have the vote on April 1st because we're waiting town council review. All right. That said, and now that's conclusion of our public hearings for this evening. As we stated earlier, we're continuing 15 Central Street with subdivision to April 1st by request of the applicant. If there's anyone on here that didn't hear me state that earlier, then just reiterating again, so everyone knows. All right, bear with me for 1 second. The next item on the agenda is under new business. It's the modification request for subdivision approval for Cypress Hollow subdivision at 100 High, assessors map R34, lot 21, lot 1A, PE. No, excuse me, I'm reading and it's very small. Lot 1A, property owners Neil Swain, applicant's representative John Moore. The Moore and Cameron Group, Inc., to allow the new owner of Lot 1A to use Cypress Hollow Road for driveway access to the barn and to a new house. I'm recused from this, so I'm going to turn this over to Larry, and Larry, you can go from here.
Thank you, Woody. Do we have the applicant present or someone on behalf of the applicant?
Yes, good evening. For the record, John Moran from the Moran Cameron Group. May I share my screen?
Please.
Yes, I will make you co-host. All right, you should be able to share now.
I think you should all be able to see the plan.
Yes, we can
Yes,
see
we
it.
have it.
Perfect. So again, for the record, John Moran from the Moran Cameron Group. We're here tonight representing Neil Swain for a minor modification request for the subdivision known as Cypress Hollow. Some of you may recall back in the fall of 2025, you approved a subdivision plan for the redevelopment of 100 High Street. The property was subdivided into 3 lots. Lot 1A included the existing house in the barn, which you see here. The outline in red is the actual property limits of Lot 1A that was created under that subdivision. Then we had lots 2 and 3 that were being serviced by the Cypress Road subdivision roadway. At that time, during the approval process, we had mentioned to the board that the owner of the subdivision was willing to entertain access off of Cypress Hollow for the barn. At that time, one of the planning board members actually recommended that he include Lot 1A in the homeowner trust, which was decided to be done. That was a good idea. So the owner at the time, Mr. Nevy, decided to include 1A, having the ability to join the trust for the homeowner association in case they wanted to use Cypress Hollow. So again, Lot 1A was sold to Neil Swain. Mr. Swain would like to raise the existing dwelling, which is located on the bottom of your screen. It's kind of dashed in an orange. And he'd like to build a new dwelling that will access off of Cypress Hollow. He also wants to make minor repairs and improvements to the barn and also access off of Cypress Hollow. You may remember as part of the subdivision approval, we had a swale running down a grass swale running down the shoulder of the road. We're actually pushing that grass swale out slightly in order to give us room to grade between the roadway and the proposed dwelling and grade to get the driveway in for the barn. What we've done is we've designed a swale, carries the same water that was coming across before. We've got the same 12-inch size culvert under the driveway for the barn, which eventually goes to the culvert that was approved under the subdivision plan, which eventually makes its way to the sediment forebay and the drainage basin. The way the subdivision was graded, there's not a lot of additional water going to the drainage basin. You can see the swale right in the front. There's a high spot right just south. North is straight up the page. So south of the swale, we've got a high spot. So the majority of the runoff from Lot 1A being redeveloped is still coming across Lot 2, which is what was happening on the original subdivision plan. So here is the original subdivision plan here that was approved by the planning board. All the runoff from Lot 1A was coming along. To develop Lot 2, we had to raise the location of the proposed dwelling. What that did is it just pushes the runoff around the side of the dwelling and then out back. And that's the way the drainage model was modeled. And under the proposed redevelopment, the majority of the runoff is still going to Lot 2. The house is still designed the exact same way, so the runoff goes around the structure. It does not drain to the house. Again, as I pointed out with the subdivision plan, the actual house location is raised up. This is lowered, so the water actually runs around the structure. It doesn't run to it. That culvert that I mentioned to you that we flow to is right in this location. Proposed drainage pipe over to a sediment forebay and then to an infiltration basin here. The raising of the existing dwelling and the removal of the pavement out front. All this pavement will be removed. The area will be loamed and seeded. With regards to sanitary systems, we are proposing to tie into the existing septic tank. We are requiring that the existing septic tank be inspected to make sure it's in still good working order. You may recall during the subdivision approval, the existing leaching facility on Lot 1A was inspected a little over a year ago, I believe, and it passed to Title V. And nobody has actually lived in this house since then. So the leaching facility is still in good shape. We anticipate that the septic tank will also be in good shape, but we did put a note on the plan that it should be re-inspected, and if it needs to be replaced, it'll be replaced with a 1,500-gallon tank. Utilities to the proposed dwelling are all going to come from the existing utilities going to the existing house. So we'll be intercepting the existing water line and gas line, bringing it over to the house. The overhead electric that currently comes off this pole will be doing underground services from that pole for data and electric over to the proposed dwelling. Again, we'll be paving a slight driveway out here to get from Cypress Hollow to the proposed dwelling, and we'll be putting a driveway in for the barn as well. And again, we're proposing a culvert underneath the driveway for the barn that will carry runoff from the swale to the location that gets it over to the drainage basin. The redesign of Lot 1 results in approximately 600 square feet more of impervious coverage. So in the grand scheme of things, with the size of this project, that will not have any impact on the drainage system or the abutting property. Your consultant did have a chance to review the the design plan. He had a couple comments. I'll just run through those.
Can I interrupt you for a second?
Sure.
Can I interrupt you for a second here? This is all useful information, but I do want to point out we only have 2 members present who are eligible to vote on this, so we're not going to be able to take a vote tonight. And I just wanted to point that out. The real question here for the board is whether or not this is a minor or major modification. And just for members of the public who might be listening in, a major modification would require a much more formal hearing, notice to abutters, newspaper advertising, etc. Where a minor modification can be done relatively informally at a meeting such as this. To me, the issue between major and minor modification comes down to whether or not there's any substantial impact of any of these changes on the drainage. And that's something that we will need a quorum of the board present to take a vote on. So again, this is all useful information. I'm speaking for myself. I like what the applicant is trying to do here. But I don't think we have the information we need right now in any event to make a determination versus major or minor modification. And I am very interested in your response to Joe Sawetka's letter. And I'll just leave it at that for now, but with the understanding that this is going to have to be continued to a further date. And I'm going to ask Steve Mangione if Steve, is there anything you want to add to this?
No, except to concur about how we will undoubtedly have to continue this so we can have 3 people that can vote and make a quorum.
Yeah. So, John, if you want to get into your response to Joe Sawetka's letter of March 13th now, that's fine. I'll give you the time to do it. My suggestion, however, would be that you respond in writing before the next meeting date. And I don't know when we're going to get you on. But my suggestion would be that you respond to writing and then give him an opportunity to review it and get back to us with any further comments that he might have.
All right, I appreciate that. I was under the understanding that we wouldn't take a vote anyway, because I knew you had 3 members on the board tonight, and I knew one of them he recused himself at the beginning of this hearing. I appreciate you giving me time to present what we submitted. What I'll do is I'll go quickly over the comments from Joe, and then I'll give it back to you guys. And if you can provide me with any input on your feelings on this, that would be great. And already based on your comments, I will work on a response to Joe's comment, a written response prior to the next hearing. But I'll just cover Joe's comments quickly. The first comment was about Mass DOT work in the right of way associated with the redevelopment of this lot. Would it be part of the subdivision? The answer to that is no. None of the work associated with Lot 1A has anything to do with the roadway work for Mass DOT, so we don't want to get those two permits intertwined together. The utility companies have to deal with DOT on their own anyway. So Mr. Swain will have to deal with DOT with regards to the removal of the pavement and the loam and seeding, which I'm anticipating that DOT is not going to require a major permit application for the removal of pavement. Joe had brought up a comment, and he's 100% correct. When we did the topography for the subdivision, we weren't doing anything on the back of this property, so we didn't need to get topography all down here where the existing leaching facility is. So we didn't need to, we don't have any existing grades down in here. What we did do is we looked at available LiDAR elevations that's available on Mass GIS to verify that we do have the ability to regrade this without grading over the leach bed. We do show grades coming across the back because the way this house is designed, it's a garage attached with a walkout basement on the backside. So we were just showing that the grades are coming down the backside of the basement or the backside of the foundation. All these grades will tail off and they won't be filling over the leach field. The Board of Health is going to be looking for a plan showing that information as well. And I believe Joe pointed that out, but I didn't think it was necessary for this application. And then his last point was with regards to drainage. We don't feel that the additional drainage going to the pond is going to have any impact. Based on the fact that the board's looking for a written response, we'll probably do some additional drainage calculations that we can submit that Joe can review and then the board can review as well. At this point in time, I just asked if the two members that are available, if they have any additional comments that they'd like to add, that'd be great. And then I'd request to continue to your next hearing.
No, that's fine, John. And I think a written response, including some additional drainage calculations, would be very helpful. I don't think this is not a public hearing, so I don't believe we need a motion to continue to a date specific.
Correct.
I just suggest that you get that paperwork in, let Joe Sawecka take a look at it, and then work with staff to see what's the best available next date for you to come before the board. Steve, anything you might want to add?
No, that sounds like a good plan, Larry.
Okay, thank you. So, John, thank you for the presentation. The information has all been very helpful. And again, as I said earlier, I'm favorably inclined towards this, but we just have to satisfy ourselves that this is a minor rather than a major modification.
Right.
And
Sadie, do you happen to have the next couple planning board dates?
Yes, so the next date is April 1st, and the one after that is the 15th. So, and the due date for any new materials is always the week before. So for the April 1st meeting, it'll be next Wednesday, March 25th at noon.
Great, I appreciate that.
Yeah. Oh, and I see, Neil, you have a hand raised.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I guess in addition to the written response and looking at some drainage calcs, I want to make sure we're doing everything we can to be proactive about this. Is there any other information that we should try and prepare between now and then?
Speaking just for myself, I think it's really just some input from our peer reviewer that we're looking for. At least that's what I'm looking for anyway. I can't speak for the other members of the board, but I mean, I know I'm repeating myself. I appreciate what you're doing. I like what you're doing. I don't want to say that I've made a decision on minor versus major, because we really do need that information, at least in the file, preferably in writing. But we'll try to move you along as fast as we can. I'm sure you're anxious to get going.
Just want to make sure I'm playing by the right set of rules. So we'll make sure that we work it out with Joe and end up with something definitive.
I
Yeah, and
think
if-
that, go
if-
ahead, Sandy.
If Joe lets us know that you will need more information, I'll forward that on to you guys.
Okay.
Whenever I
Thank
get
you.
the feedback. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, so work with staff on the next hearing date, and we'll see you soon, I hope.
Will do. Have a good
Okay.
night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Woody, I'll hand it back to you.
Okay, thank you, Larry. And unfortunately, we have a couple planning board members that just couldn't make it to our meeting tonight, so we will entertain anything with 100 high on a future agenda. Most likely have a quorum. So on to the next item of business. So, that's all for new business. Old business is a request for extension of subdivision approval and common driveway special permit, Colin Tony Crossan, 5-lot subdivision, 108 Main Street, applicant John Colin Tony, Triple Q, Inc. Do we have John with us this evening?
Good evening, John Colantoni for the record. Yes, I am here. Thank you.
Okay. Go right ahead.
Okay. Just want to thank the board for having us again. We did the site, our second site meeting or site walk, pre-construction meeting, sort of our second pre-construction meeting. I think it went, pretty well. And we did the schedule as you requested as well. Not sure if there's any questions on that. Peer review looked at the schedule. I just got a copy of the letter today. I agree with what he says. It is an aggressive schedule, and that's what we're trying to, do. We want to get through this. It's been way too long. We agree with the board on that, and his points about National Grid in regard to the electric and the gas are very good points as well. I do have a good relationship with the gas side of things because we've done that at 51 West Main Street, and we've done that in Georgetown, 51 West Main Street. And we had a subdivision in Danvers recently as well. And most recently, Washington Street project at Ipswich. So the gas department, for lack of better terms, the National Grid knows about this already and has given us the paperwork to start. National Grid Electric knew about this a long time ago, and we're reconvening with them. But I would agree with peer review that those are usually the things that can delay you a little bit because it takes a little bit longer. But I think we got a good handle, and as I mentioned, the gas a better handle than the electric. But I think we'll be fine. I asked for a 3-year extension only because didn't want to have to bother the board to come back or whatever. And what I mean by that is, when we talk 3 years, we're talking about all the lots done, the house is done, the house is sold, the whole shebang. So I don't want anyone to think that it's 3 years to put in the street, et cetera, et cetera. That's not the case. So our formal request was March 30th, 2029, to make it 3 years from when you did the temporary extension at the last meeting that we're with you. So that's how we came up with that time frame. So if there's any questions, be glad to answer.
Okay, thank you, John. I'll turn to Larry. Larry, do you have any questions for John at this
Where,
time?
if either for John or Sadie, where are we with the Form D covenant? Is that signed and up to date?
I don't know if I have received it yet. If do you have it, John, or do you sent it to Kristen maybe?
What you're talking about, just so I'm not confused and I understand, it's what we had to do last time that which took the attorney forever and we filed it just before the last meeting, which was crazy. You're talking about that type of form, correct?
It's the security.
Yeah, can I jump in here?
Yes, go ahead, Martha.
Okay, yeah, so, I mean, my understanding, John, is that you did file the former Form D, which is your form of performance guarantee for the project, but it had an old date, which has now expired. So there would need to be a new Form D that would be filled out.
Right.
And
We agree with you, but we're under the impression that we'd have to wait for tonight to see what date it gets extended to be able to do that Form D properly. Unless we misunderstand that, I apologize, but that's what we thought.
Right. No, I think that's correct. So, but it seems like we're kind of talking about two dates because the Form D is really to secure the construction of the roadway and installation of the municipal services. So, that would be some date before the 3 years that you're talking about, whether that would be based on your schedule, say a year from now. So maybe, March 30th, 2027 for the Form D. So it's kind of two extensions, it seems, that you're looking at. One related to the Form D, which is really specifically for the roadway.
Well, that's why we did the 3 years, just to make it simple, so we wouldn't have to be coming back for anything at all to bother the board.
But I think the Form D basically, covers both the ability to build on the lots and also to sell the lots.
Right. Well, it's no different than the Form D that we did originally, even though it took so long to file. It was one, and I may say this wrong, not legally, but it was one Form D for the whole shebang. You know what I mean? So that's what we thought this would be as well.
So you would be coming back within that 3-year period at certain points to get lots released, presumably, so that you could actually build on them and sell them.
For sure, but the first step of this would be to get a road in there with a tripartite agreement, because as we all know, without that, we don't have anything. We wouldn't have any lots to be able to sell.
Right. Well, so it's your choice as the developer on the form of performance guarantee. So I think the original assumption that it was the Form D, but you've just mentioned a tripartite agreement. So is that something that you're considering?
Well, we've used the tripartite in our other projects, and it works very well, and it's nice and smooth with the banks and stuff. So that's what I think we would do as we move forward. And I've always used through this whole project that we were going to do a tripartite. The Form D to me is making sure that it's recorded on our performance with the planning board in regard to the date.
So at some point you would propose to basically ask the board to release the lots and then replace it with a tripartite agreement for the value of any work remaining on the roadway.
What we usually do is once the roadway is done, when I say done, to the point that it's drivable, you can get to all the lots, etc. We would set up a tripartite with the planning board approving it, and we would have dollar amounts per what is left to be done to finalize the project at the very end.
Right. So you would submit a schedule of values.
Correct. Thank you.
Right, and at that point, that would essentially replace the Form D. You would ask for that to be released, and it would be replaced by the tripartite agreement.
Right. Because we can't, this is my understanding from my past experience, we can't have a lot to build a house on unless the town is protected that, John Colantoni goes south and is never seen again. And now there's no money secured for the town to be able to finish the road for these, one or two lots that are there. So
Right,
the,
right.
so the town needs to be protected. And then usually, as things progress, we may come in to the planning board and say, let's say this tripartite started at 600,000, I'm just making that up. We may come in and say, okay, this, and this, as you can see, is done. It's been inspected. Would like to bring the tripartite agreement down to 300,000 because, these categories have been completed, that, cost 300,000. Because I'm
Right,
sure,
right. So, yeah,
right,
you'd be asking for partial release as it goes along. So,
right, yeah,
right. So I think the question is, but your intention is to start with the Form D, and then that gets converted to the tripartite agreement at some point when you want to be able to sell the lots, get building permits and stuff like that.
correct. Because it's in our past experience, in our view, it's impossible to do a tripartite now because there's nothing there.
Well, you could. I mean, we have had developers start out with a tripartite agreement, and they come in with an estimate of all the work that needs to be done. That's reviewed by Joe. Everybody's in agreement on that, so that's 100% of the work. And then you would come in, and that would be signed by the bank and the board and you. And then you would come in for partial releases as the work goes on. But again, the form of performance guarantee is your choice as the developer.
Yeah. Well, as you described it, very better than I did, the Form D, and then we would be going to the tripartite, if that's okay with the board. That was the plan.
Right, and that's frequently the way it's done. So then the question goes back to your original request: is setting an appropriate date for that tripartite agreement. And if you're planning to convert, for the Form D, if you're planning to convert it to a tripartite agreement at some point, it probably may not make sense to have the end date on the Form D be that 3 years. I'm not sure. I'm just kind of.
I'll tell you, I'm not comfortable with 3 years. I mean, this approval is 5 years old, and frankly, the site's a mess, and people have been looking at that for 5 years. My thinking right now is that I would be okay with a 1-year extension. And if you need more time to sell the lots, you can come back. But I want to see that road done, and not in 3 years. You got to put it in the front burner.
Oh, it is in the front burner. I don't want you to think it is. I mean, look at our the schedule that we gave you. It's pretty aggressive, but I explained to you why we were doing the 3 years. But if you want to cut that down and be realistic, we should really go with 2 years based on what you've explained to me on the Form D and then the tripartite. And as your peer review brought up, you just never know what you run into with National Grid. As I've already explained, I think we have a very good handle on the gas. It's the electric that makes me a little bit nervous. But they've been notified a long time ago. So I think we'll be okay. But I don't want to run into a problem. Weather can always play a role. I think we're going to be fine because we're going into the spring and we got all summer and we got the fall. So, and our schedule is pretty aggressive.
Well, that's why I suggested, given those factors, that's why I suggested 1 year for completion of the infrastructure. I mean, it's.
Well, I would request formally of the board, if you're not going to look at the 3 years, to be 2 years. Because I don't want to run into problems. The board is very fair, don't get me wrong, but I don't want to run into problems if we're having trouble with one of the utilities or something, and we need more time, and then we have to come back to try to extend past the year. And so I would, we've come in with 3 years. I explained why. If you don't want to do the 3 years, I would formally request 2 years then.
I I would agree with what Larry said. It would be, we've seen your timeline. The site's been torn up 5 years. I feel that if we did a Form D, like your intentions are, we gave you a date for March 31st, 27. You can revisit it then. The road should be done. The utilities should be done. The Form D should be satisfied. And you could revisit and get an extension from there for another year. And maybe more. We're missing a few board members tonight as well. But a year and a half, I'm very reluctant to give 3 years just off the bat with a 3-year end date. It would be great to revisit this in a year and convert it to a tripod at that time, along with an extension for another year to go about the rest of the subdivision. That way the infrastructure would be it.
Well, obviously, if the board is only giving us a year, we're going to take it. But I just want to have the board, I hope the board realizes that this subdivision isn't going to be done in a year. Like, there's no way we're going to have 5 1-acre lots built and everything else. So I just want to be upfront with the board. So if you're looking in the year for the road to be done, for lack of better terms, obviously that's very possible. You can see that with our schedule. But I'd be lying to you if I didn't say we're going to be coming back to you, before the year is up to get an extension, because there's no way that we're going to have the 5 houses built.
No, and that's fine, and that's understandable. I think the other 2 members that are present here today understand that. And we've paid attention to we asked for it, and we paid attention to your timeline and schedule for what the work that needs to be done. So also being stated by you that we're going to go into a tripartite agreement. So it would be the time to do that as well. And we'll just simply grant an extension for another year at the end of next March, if that's fine with you.
No, I mean, that's good, and I appreciate that. And I'm hoping that we come back to you before the year's up for the tripartite. So
even better, and then we could even entertain a discussion then to extend it for a year at that point beyond the March 31st of next year. But with the way things have gone, it's kind of a way to ensure that this is on your front burner, and that things are satisfied here with a Form D. So if that makes sense to the rest of the board. And I see your hand, Steve, so go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with what Larry and you have said, Woody. I can't support anything greater than a year. I think to keep it on the front burner means you need to turn on the heat. And given that this has been around for 5 years, and apparently there are issues with what the site looks like, I think it's time to say turn on the gas as well as getting it done. So I will not support anything greater than a 1-year plan.
And I guess it would also be one thing too, if the 5 years has gone by here and the site was undisturbed, but the site's been disturbed for the 5 years, or however long it's been a long time. So that being said, I would entertain a motion to, I just got to get the verbiage correct here. I'd entertain a motion to approve the request for an extension to March 30th, 2027 for subdivision approval and common driveway special permit for Colin Tony Cross, the 5-lot subdivision at 108 Main, and to authorize staff to work with the applicant and town council to complete all necessary legal and administrative steps.
So moved. Oh,
Yep.
was that, we finished, Woody? Sorry.
Yes, yeah, basically, the last thing I stated in that motion was the Form D. So,
And I second.
okay. Roll call vote, Larry,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
and I vote yes as well. John, good luck with everything, and we'll look forward to seeing you in a year. And if you have any questions or anything to do, just contact Kristen or Sadie, and we'll get any answers you need for the Form D and get everything rolling.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the board's time and want to really thank the planning department with their help on going through the process.
Okay,
So-
and Martha, did you?
Yeah,
Yep.
just to confirm, so the date on the Form D will be the March 30th, 2027. And then that will need to include a description of the mortgages and be fully executed and filed with the registry. And then a form needs to be, a copy of that needs to be provided to the board.
Yeah, Martha, will you guys email over to me like you did last time? And then we take it from there? So we have your language?
Yeah, we can work. Yeah, we can work with that. I think it'll probably be about the same as it was before, but Sadie and I will coordinate on that.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you, John, and good luck with everything. And
Thank you.
have a good night. Okay, that ends old business. I believe that's it, except for liaison meeting reports. We'll start with ZBA, Larry.
Yeah, the ZBA is meeting tomorrow night for their regular monthly meeting. They have one public hearing on the agenda. It's for 15 Sunset Drive to take down the existing dwelling and build a new one in its place. And that's all I have, Woody.
All right, thank you. Conservation, we have not met since our last meeting, and we meet on, I believe it's the second no, it'll be the first Tuesday in April, but it'll be after our next planning board meeting. So I'll have more and more on conservation in 2 meetings. So we switched to once a month for the winter here. So I believe that it will be, our next meeting will be April 6th. It's the first Tuesday of April. MVPC, do you have anything to report, Sadie, or is that kind of in Kristen's wheelhouse?
It is Kristen is the commissioner, but there has not been an MVPC planners meeting since our last meeting.
Okay. Thank you. And I will roll that right into if Martha or Sadie has anything for a plans report this evening. Any updates or anything?
I have a couple short things, but Martha, do you have anything to report?
I have just a couple short things as well. So draw straws.
Okay.
Who goes first?
Yeah,
I can go first just to get my what?
Rock, paper, scissors.
I'll get my rambly report out of the way first here.
Okay, great.
So the myself and a member of the select board attended the second of 3 Waste Watchers workshops. And the planning department is working with the health agent in Newbury to try to find a person to fill a recycling coordinator position, which would be funded solely through the recycling dividends program. So the next workshop from ACES is in mid-April, so I'll have more to report after that as well. Another item that happened recently was the Plum Island Turnpike public meeting. There will soon be a report available to the public on the feasibility study that was conducted by Ty and Bond in partnership with Newbury and Newburyport and MVPC. And so yeah, that was a good meeting, a good informational meeting. And then my final item to report is that next week there is a meeting with the MPO board with MVPC to discuss federal funding awards for transportation projects. And we did apply for the Boston Road Route 1 intersection to receive funding. So we're hoping that that will turn out in our favor. And that is all I have to report for now.
I hope that's favorable as well.
Yes.
I have a personal interest.
Steve, did you have a question?
Yeah, just a comment in that I urge my fellow members to pay careful attention to what was in the feasibility study report out that Ty and Bond did. Unfortunately, there wasn't room for questions and answers during the presentation that they made. And I know I have a lot, but so much of the project, I could say 90%, but it might be 85% of it is all on land within Newbury. And I think Newbury residents, including the planning board, needs to pay careful attention to what Ty and Bond is doing. The emphasis on the project, as I see it, and again, this is an FYI, seems to focus largely on improving bicycle access to the residential island known as Plum Island. There's not very much emphasis on getting access to the federal wildlife refuge, which is the whole purpose of the grant. So with that in mind, you might take a look at it.
Yes. Yeah, the grant is for access for all modes of transportation to the federal lands. And it's not determined if it's only phase 1 of a 3-phase process. So we're not 100%, we don't know if we'll be pursuing the subsequent phases, but this is
Right.
the end of the phase 1.
And again, the meeting was recorded, so it would soon be available for everyone to look at. It only lasted about an hour. But what I found particularly telling was the introductory remarks made by the Newburyport planning director, where he basically said, yeah, we want to, I'll paraphrase to say, yeah, we want to get this through so that we improve bicycle access to Plum Island. And that was his statement. And to me, that says something about what Newburyport's goal is for a project that is largely in Newbury. And I think we ought to be sensitive to it as an outfit concerned about, planning within the town. A simple one is that another simple one to look at is how Ty and Bonds, the consultant, seem to be favoring a preferred option of having a roundabout at the crossroads with Sunset, Old Point, and the Plum Island Turnpike. And that's a pretty substantial change in the way things work. So anyway, take a look at it is my recommendation.
Yes,
All right.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, and thank you, Steve, for announcing that it's recorded because you answered a question I had. So go
Yes,
ahead,
the
Sadie.
recording will soon be available on the project page on the planning section of the town website, as well as the finished report. Hopefully by mid-April, the report will be available for the public.
Right. And one other comment is that you may want to pay careful attention to how in several instances there are crosswalks proposed on the Plum Island Turnpike. And that should be interesting unless we lower the speed limit on the turnpike down to 25 miles an hour from its current 40. So there's a lot of nuggets to look at.
Thank you, Steve. And if Sadie's done, Martha, you had some updates?
Yeah, basically an update on the warrant. So I've put all the proposed zoning amendments into the warrant for town meeting, and that will be reviewed by the FinCom and the select board next next Tuesday, the 24th, at their meeting. So I will plan to be there if there are any questions that come up. I don't know if anybody else is planning to be. But in the process of doing that, I did catch a few blanks that need to be filled in. Most of them one of them was section reference, but there was one, we had a blank for dollar value for 3-inch caliper trees to replace trees that are removed for a solar project. So in looking at the range of what an installed 3-inch caliper tree is, I'm suggesting $1,000 to put in for that. So hoping that sounds okay with everybody. And other than that, town council's reviewing the warrant, and I think under the current schedule, the select board is still scheduled to approve and sign it on April 14th.
Martha, can you check in with the tree warden and see if $1,000 for whatever seems at least reasonable?
I can. I did some research on it, but yes, I can do that.
Yeah, and that was also on recommendation of town council, right?
Yes, that we need to have a number in there.
Yep, okay. Very good. Anything else, Martha or Sadie?
No.
No.
All right. Larry, you good?
Good.
All right. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I will
Okay.
second that motion.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Larry. Larry, Steve, and myself.
Yes.
I vote yes.
Yes.
And I wish our other planning board members that weren't able to make it with us this evening well, and hope to see them